Guys, it happened again. Valve just changed the industry. Just when we thought things were settling down, Valve comes into the scene and says, we don't just have one, not just two, but we have 3 new pieces of hardware to bring onto the scene. All of which look tantalizing, all of which look well designed, and all of which seem as if they're going to be able to carve out a piece of their respective market. Valve is just doing what Valve does. Hello everybody, it's your boy Jmulls, and we have a Steam machine, a Steam controller, and a Steam frame. Oh, we have a lot to talk about.
Powerful PC gaming in a
Let's start with Valve's big boy, or should I say small boy, the Steam machine. It is a very, very small little PC they have here, because it's basically only a 6-inch cube. It's not exactly 6 inches, but it's very close. And Valve also claims that within this tiny space, it's about 6 times more powerful than a Steam Deck. And while I'm sure that it will be far more than enough to satisfy many people, there are some limitations to the specs that raise some concerns about the longevity of the Steam machine, namely the RAM. Now, the basic RAM looks serviceable for something that's probably going to try to be budget-friendly like the Steam machine. 16GB of DDR5 RAM, okay, but it's when we get to the VRAM specifically, 8GB of GDDR6 VRAM. Games are increasingly becoming more and more hungry when it comes to VRAM, and being locked to only 8GB out of the box at least, that could really become, if not already be, a limiting element for what kind of games you're going to actually be able to play on this thing going into the future. But if you don't particularly care about playing those big spectacled games, I'm sure this thing will be more than enough to satiate your gaming desire, as the Steam Deck can already play a wide swath of games, and this thing being 6 times more powerful than that thing, so long as it's priced appropriately, I could see this thing carving out an interesting spot in the market. Now, there are 2 main models of the Steam machine, one that has a 512GB NVMe SSD, and the other one with a 2TB NVMe SSD. Both models include a high-speed micro SD card slot according to the tech specs. Now, the main point of conversation going around right now, is it a console, is it a PC? Well, Valve is choosing to advertise this thing far more like it's a PC, mainly because it is a PC, but it runs SteamOS, Valve's own version of Arch Linux. So yes, it is a Linux operating system. However, over the last few years, Valve has done a lot of work to increase the compatibility of PC gaming, especially within Steam, on Linux, because remember, the Steam Deck also runs SteamOS, where it has a smooth and customizable interface, and you can also treat it like a standard console interface, without even going to the desktop environment. It's just, if you want to use it like a regular PC, you can, because it is a PC, you can just boot into a Linux desktop. So much like how we saw some people utilize a Steam Deck as a regular primary PC, I wouldn't be surprised seeing people try to just use this for that role as well. Either as a traditional console you just plug into your TV so you can play on the couch with people, or just use it at your desk like it's a regular PC. But therein lies the rub. You see, according to Linus Tech Tips, they're going to be pricing this thing competitively for a PC, not necessarily competitively for a console. So if this machine does end up being closer to the $1,000 mark than say like a $500 mark, I don't really see this completely usurping other consoles like Xbox or PlayStation, but what I could see is this thing carve enough of a niche out for itself, much like how the Steam Deck did, where the Steam Deck didn't necessarily overtake the Switch at all, but it found a nice little corner of the market to really capitalize and sell units. And it's also not like the PC market is small or anything either, especially when it comes to PC gaming. And there's a lot of people out there that are looking for more budget-friendly alternatives to get into the PC market. If Valve is able to price this accordingly, then I could easily see them start to really make a name for themselves when it comes to a budget-friendly PC. We just have to wait until they actually tell us how much the thing freaking costs. Because while it's going to be priced competitively for a PC, that also means it has the advantages of being a PC. Free multiplayer, you're able to modify the machine to your liking, you're able to mod, you're able to emulate. For those who have not emulated games on the Steam Deck, it's really easy to do. PlayStation has ported a lot of their games to Steam as well. Same with Xbox. So all of a sudden, if you're trying to advertise and market this thing to a bunch of people, hey, we have a tiny little box that is able to play most of the games you care about, halfway decently. Everyone loves Steam. It has Xbox games, it has PlayStation games, regular PC games, you can mod your games, you can emulate games from previous consoles if you know how to do that. You get all the benefits of a Linux desktop. That is a very tantalizing offer for a lot of people out there that are not sure what they want to do for the next big gaming upgrade. Whether they want to go for an Xbox, a PlayStation, or if they've been wanting to get into PC, they just don't really know how to. This can be a very easy on-ramp for a lot of people out there. And while I myself have no need for this thing because I already have a powerful gaming PC, it's also not meant for someone like me. But if you want something just for like your living room TV, if you want what is hopefully a very budget-friendly PC, this can really, really, really have the potential to satiate that desire. But now for the thing I am particularly interested in. This new controller looks sick.
Powerful PC gaming in an open.
I absolutely love the Steam Deck, and I love the thumbsticks, I love the buttons on that thing, and I absolutely adore the trackpads. The Steam controller, in a lot of ways, is basically taking that control scheme from the Steam Deck, removing the screen, and just making a controller out of it, and rearranging a few things just for the size and form of the controller. While it can look a little bit goofy, let's be fair here, the trackpads make it look extremely large, I like a big controller because my hands are big, and I like pressing my buttons on the Steam Deck. It's an enjoyable and comfortable experience for me, and if this is anything like that, it's going to appeal to me a lot. And the thumbsticks being magnetic means we hopefully won't have to worry about stuff like stick drift, even though, funnily enough, never really had stick drift. And we could talk about things like the haptic motors, we could talk about the gyro, and all of that. Bro, the thing I'm most excited for are the trackpads. I understand, they look really extra. Like, why do I need these things? Having used the Steam Deck and having used those trackpads, they are a godsend for certain games, and they're also a godsend for trying to navigate certain menus with a controller, especially since it's a PC. And while I could just easily put the controller down and start using my mouse and keyboard for certain activities, knowing that I won't have to do that because of the trackpads is a very nice feeling. They feel super good on the Steam Deck, and if they're anything like that, which why would they be different, that's going to be a lovely addition for me. And also, when it comes to the controllers that I use for PC, none of them have back buttons. So the fact that this has back buttons for me is another checkbox being filled. Sure, a lot of controllers nowadays have back buttons. However, if I'm in the market for a new controller and I'm looking at what the Steam controller is offering me and what appeals to me specifically, it's checking a lot of the right boxes. I think of all the announcements they have made today, the Steam controller is the one I'm most excited for because it's the one I probably actually use. I'm not big into VR at all, so while the Steam frame itself looks rather interesting and cool, I am not a VR head, so all of that is white noise to me. I'm not going to get that thing in all likelihood. I already have a gaming PC, and I do not have the need or the desire to play at a TV, so the Steam machine isn't going to be for me. But the Steam controller, that one's going on my wish list.
Powerful PC gaming in an.
Microsoft's PR is in the depths of Hades fighting Kratos right now, and I think in a gaming landscape where that is kind of the general sentiment, it is only natural that when Valve puts out a new piece of hardware that can fulfill the role of not just a PC but also a traditional console, while also having the Steam name attached to it, people get excited, and they start to go, oh, this thing is about to become the new dominating force on the market. I don't know if it's going to do that, depending on the price point. I think it's a continuation of Valve's strategy from the Steam Deck, where it's not necessarily there to sell like 100 million units or anything like that. They smell blood in the water, they think there's a part of the market that they can exploit and carve out for themselves, and that's what they're capitalizing on. And I think they can do that with all three new pieces of kit that they're coming out with: the Steam controller, the Steam machine, and the Steam frame. I don't think their intended goal is to like sell as many units as a Nintendo Switch. Would they love to do that? Yeah, sure, absolutely, who wouldn't? But I don't think that's the expectation going into it. I think they understand there's a growing desire for people to get into PC gaming, but they want something that's very budget friendly and something that's very accessible and straightforward in order to help people transition into PC gaming, or for those who are just on very old hardware that want something newer as a general upgrade. SteamOS is a very pleasurable experience to use and also customize. A lot of people also just love Steam. It's my preferred platform as as well. So having the name recognition and the brand of Steam will go a long way for a lot of people. It's a known entity, and when there's a lot of people that may be going from console hopefully into PC, there's already a lot of unknowns and a lot of confusion for them making that move. So going with something that is easily recognizable and understandable can be very tantalizing. Again, I don't think Steam is necessarily even trying to compete not just with Nintendo, but also PlayStation and Xbox. I don't think that's their intended goal here. Would they love to sell the units enough to do that? Yeah, sure, absolutely, who wouldn't? But I think they see an empty void in the market and they want to fill that. And from what I've seen, and knowing Valve's reputation, I don't doubt their ability to do that. And with the new Steam hardware coming out in early 2026, at this point it's just a waiting game until they actually announce the price points for these things, because that's going to be the main deciding factor for a lot of people. You can make a pretty powerful gaming PC for not that much. If the Steam machine isn't priced accordingly, they may not be able to break into that budget-friendly crowd that they are seemingly hoping for. And if you already have a good gaming PC, I don't really see why anyone would actually want to pick this thing up unless you need something for your TV. Its only main advantage in my eyes would be twofold: the Steam name, and also if it has a truly competitive price. Now, what Valve deems to be a competitive price for a PC, we will have to wait and see. Same thing when it comes to the Steam frame. The reason a lot of people don't get into VR is because one, it's clunky, but also two, it's very expensive. And with the Steam frame not just being a VR headset, but also packing a PC alongside it, yeah, that's in there. I would be shocked if that thing's even remotely considered cheap. No, I'm just here playing a waiting game for the controller to come out because I really want that thing.
Powerful PC gaming in a
Well, it seems like Valve is no longer afraid of the number 3, so that's good news. Maybe we can get Half-Life 3 as a launch title for the Steam machine. Not like you would actually need a Steam machine to play Half-Life 3, but that could generate a lot of interesting publicity for the Steam machine and Valve overall. Not saying it's likely or anything, it would just be pretty cool to see. So here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with which piece of Steam hardware are you most excited for? The already existing Steam Deck, the Steam machine, the Steam controller, or the VR headset, the Steam frame? Or do none of them really tickle your fancy? Or do all of them do? I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and hear your perspectives. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And there has been a trend of people elevating single-player games over multiplayer games. And I'm talking about competitive-based multiplayer games at that. Will Ark Raiders get Game of the Year? Will Expedition 33 or another single-player game yet again become the Game of the Year? It is a raging discussion right now, and if you want to hear my thoughts on why people love single-player games over multiplayer games nowadays, you should check out this video right here for more. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again!